Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cow Daily. This episode is about bullying in politics, and we're going to break it all down a little bit. And yeah, just generally look at some of the persistent and continued hypocrisy that is happening and the cross-party bullying or cry-bullying cohort that seems to have developed. Obviously, we're due to be on at 12 o'clock. Apologies for that. Also, if you could let me know that in the comments that you're here. I'm going to leave the video up that lasts about 10 seconds, right? Simply because I'm going to show it to my partner every time she nicks something off us. This time it was my headphones out the studio and I didn't realize it was started, so I've had to redo the whole thing. So if you could let us know that you're about in the comments. It's going to get canny confusing, I think, because there's 2 links out now. But I noticed 4 of you have arrived. So hello to all 4. However, let's carry on. And if you could let me know you're around as we go on, then we will. Bullying in politics. What has been going on? Well, yesterday this happened, and shouts to joe.co.uk for putting this out there, because I've not seen it anywhere else, and it should be.
Statement, Prime Minister, COP27.
With permission, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to make a statement on COP27.
Prime Minister, points of orders come after the statements. Sorry, Prime Minister.
Oh, he's literally just sat.
I'm glad you've... Sorry? What's he saying? It can't relate to the PNQ. She didn't ask a question. We'll deal with it afterwards. Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Right, so that was the Shadow Health Secretary and for Social Care, Wes Streeting, calling 72, I think he's 72, 72-year-old Jeremy Corbyn. No, he's senile. Oh, and he's like, honestly, just this is one in a long line of what this absolute rot has been after doing. So anyway, Owen Jones posted that clip, and Wes Streeting replied to it. Owen Jones was admonishing him. Owen Jones is still going to blatantly tell people to vote Labour when it comes to a general election. So all this to me is utterly performative. He's still going to ask for Wes Streeting to be health secretary, so perform away on. But anyway, Wes Streeting says, in jest, but I accept in poor taste. I've dropped Jeremy a note directly to apologise for any offence caused. How about you go up to him, to his face, and apologise him to his face instead of a note, whatever the hell that means. And have you even done that, Wes? Because Jeremy subtweeted him not long after, which I thought was kind of hilarious, but also an important message. Jeremy Corbyn on Twitter: dementia is the leading cause of death in the UK. By 2025, over 1 million people will be suffering from the disease. The impact on loved ones is unquantifiable. Now more than ever, we need a national care service, publicly funded and free for all those who need it. Absolutely spot on. That's exactly what needs to happen. So I'm not sure whether Streeting actually did apologise. This is Eva Santina from joe.co.uk, who've been doing some great stuff recently. Don't know who they are, who funds them, whatever, but fair play. So what it says, Labour front bencher brands Jeremy Corbyn senile in House of Commons. New, Jeremy Corbyn calls on Wes Streeting to apologise to those affected by his comments. There's nothing in jest about calling somebody senile, says Jeremy. It's very serious for people suffering from dementia. He should know this as Shadow Health Secretary. He should know this. And he does know this because there's a tweet kicking about from 2014 where he went for training with Alzheimer's, I don't know what it is, foundation, whatever. Alzheimer's UK, I think it is. There you go. What is a bully? A bully is somebody who seeks to harm, intimidate, or coerce someone perceived as vulnerable. Quote, her 11-year-old son has been constantly bullied at school. So this all ties in with what's been going on with Gavin Williamson, who's just had to resign or been made to resign or whatever. You never quite know, do you? It's a bit when football club says a transfer fee is undisclosed. It could be 12 million or 12 pence. Who knows? So Williamson has said a few different things to colleagues over a period of time, and the Tories try to minimise it. La la la. Starmer in PMQs the other day. This reporter Dan Bloom says this: absolutely brutal verdict on Gavin Williamson from Keir Starmer. A sad middle manager getting off on intimidating those beneath him. The truth is simple. He's a pathetic bully, but he would never get away with it if people like the Prime Minister didn't hand him power. Right. I think we're seeing where this is going so far, eh? Starmer, manager, are you going to sack a bully? No, you're not going to sack a bully, are you? It's not going to happen. But the duplicitousness of these people, it continues to be utterly startling. But not surprising whatsoever. Not one little bit is this surprising in any way, shape, or form. So please do not get that twisted. This is pretty conducive with who these people are. So what else do we have here? Rachel Reeves, Shadow Chancellor, says, this is a PM 2 week to sack a bully in terms of Gavin Williamson. 2 week to bring in proper windfall tax, blah, blah, blah. Yous aren't doing it either. What are you talking about? 2 week. It's all 2 week. Wes Streeting, Wes the bully Streeting, retweeted this. This is an absolute joke. Where's the media actually interrogating this stuff? They're actually laying out what the hell is going on and who these people really are. So just something I wanted to throw up, but I haven't got time to go into. Here's a picture of Keir Starmer with former Chief Whip Nick Brown, who is the MP from near where I'm from in Newcastle East. For locals, that's like Walker and places like that. At FurBabyGirl on Twitter asks, why has Labour MP Nick Brown been suspended, Keir Starmer? It's day 64 without an explanation. I don't know, and I would like to know, and I think it was important to include it within this. So when are Labour going to come out and say what the hell's going on? So obviously it says, from the Sky News, Labour MP Nick Brown temporarily suspended from party pending investigation. This was from Wednesday, the 7th of September of this year, 2022. The Guardian reports that a complaint has been made against Nick Brown, the member for Newcastle upon Tyne East, who has previously served as Labour Chief Whip. Brown's been quoted actually as saying he doesn't actually know what the complaint is that's been made against him. So I don't know what the MP for Newcastle East has done, but I think as people, certainly people from Newcastle, would really, really, really like to know. So anyway, that's it up to this point. However, just a little clip here. This is Kev Brennan, who's Kevin Brennan. I've called him Kev myself. Kev Brennan, who is Labour MP.
Kevin Brennan. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and I have informed the members who I'm going to name that I intend to raise this point of order. At Prime Minister's questions earlier today, the Prime Minister told the House he wasn't aware until yesterday of any specific allegations against the Right Honourable Member for South Staffordshire. However, the former Conservative Party chairman, the member for Rossendale and Darwin, publicly said that he informed the Prime Minister of a complaint that had been made regarding allegations of bullying and intimidation of parliamentary colleagues by the Right Honourable Member of South Staffordshire well in advance of that. I wonder, Mr. Deputy Speaker, whether you could inform us whether the Prime Minister has given any indication that he intends to return to the House to correct the record, because I know that Mr. Speaker is extremely keen that statements made to this House should be accurate and truthful.
Thank the honourable member for his point of order, and he's absolutely right. That's exactly what the Speaker believes. I've been given no indication that there is going to be a statement made by the Prime Minister today, but the Treasury bench will have heard his point of order, and I'm sure that they will pass it on to him. Thank you very much.
Hi, so there you go, Kev Brennan. One thing I wanted to point out and show that clip, right? That Deputy Speaker there, right? If you were watching a show last week, it's the one that I've done on Corbyn and the treatment that he's received, and I've debunked Rishi Sunak's allegations against him. That deputy speaker, if you look at a clip in there, was laughing along with all of that. He's full of shit as well. The whole problem that we've got here is Westminster's rotten to the core. It's got people in there who don't care if we live or die, and they're proving it. And you've got the speaker and the deputy speaker are about as much use as a chocolate fire guard. But, I mean, you could say that. I mean, they're part of the establishment fully. So, as are Labour, as are the Tories. Yesterday, when all this was going on with Streeting, right? Absolutely unbelievable. But before I show you this next thing, take some of your comments. Bob Grady's saying, hello, Bob. Found you eventually, but it took some time. There's going to be trouble in paradise, and ironically, loads of bullying. Nah, it's all right. Everybody makes a mistake, but bloody hell, when I didn't see my headphones there. Trouble is, everybody's on a different link now, so if you could let people know what link we're on, that would be absolutely spot on. Really appreciated. Waz is in. Ayo, hello, mate. Maureen's in. Anybody who makes a remark like that in jest is not fit to be Shadow Minister for Health. Heaven help us if he holds this post should Labour be elected. I fully agree with you, Maureen. Absolutely wrong. And hey all, says the grey man. B62 Boom on. Howdy, folks. Michael Dines is in. What's he saying? The House of Parliament and now the House of Degenerates. Indeed. Also, if you'd like to support our work, go to patreon.com/cowdaily, patreon.com/cowdaily. Also, there's a link in the description of this podcast if you want to make a one-off donation to our work via PayPal. Belter. Also, if you're watching this on anywhere else other than YouTube, can you watch it over on YouTube? Because we're trying to get the channel monetized. That'll be absolutely spot on. Onwards, though. This, right, came out yesterday. So it was a report into scale of abuse of politicians on Twitter revealed. But why is Jess Phillips there? What's she got to do with it? Well, people have obviously interrogated this, right? And it's the methodology of the actual so-called AI or whatever machine learning. That's what he used. The guy. I'll introduce who he is later. So this is Dr. Eleanor Janega replying to Pete Sherlock, who was the guy in question. I'm unsure of the rigors of an investigation which counts calling people a Tory as abuse. Strap yourself in for what has been omitted from this, right? So there's other ones just from the list here. You're a disgrace. That was the top one. You're a liar. You are a fucking... It could be you're a fucking belter. You're a fucking great person. So straight away, there's a problem. You're a hypocrite. What's wrong with that? You're a fool. Oh, yeah, it's a bit. You are lying. Well, what about if you're lying? Obviously, you were a Tories there as well. And so we can't. Also, Le Monstrous Carbunk on Twitter has pointed out, what's the top insult again? And here's Jess Phillips calling people a disgrace many times over several years. Goose and Gander springs to mind, Phillips. Here's Jess Phillips from The Spectator. Why I told Diane Abbott to fuck off. Also, 6 years ago, Labour MP Jess Phillips will knife Corbyn in the front if he damages party. Birmingham MP says general election called now. She could not see opposition, blah, fucking blah. This was obviously Phillips, who spent, from what we can tell, she just likes to go around bullying, but not accepting any criticism towards her whatsoever, even if there's things to be critical about. So the point of bringing this into the pieces is something called cry bullying, and we'll define that later. So further from Twitter, at Deborah Power 5, Jess Phillips, this would be this Jess Phillips. I roundly told her to fuck off when asked what Miss Abbott did. After the suggestion, Miss Phillips replied, she fucked off. Ab's clearly not bothered whatsoever about bullying unless it affects her. Absolutely. These people, man, seriously. So, definition of bullying, once again, seek to harm, intimidate, or coerce someone perceived as vulnerable. Unbelievable, right? And again, a reminder, at Dan Bloom, absolutely brutal verdict on Gavin Williamson from Keir Starmer, a sad middle manager getting off on intimidating those beneath him. The truth is simple. He's a pathetic bully, but he would never get away with it if people like the Prime Minister didn't hand him power. Just like you, your shadow cabinet, Starmer, is absolutely riddled with bullies, riddled with them. Westminster is riddled with bullies. But these cry bullies point the finger at other people when they're doing it themselves. Where have we seen that before, eh? So this is Pete Sherlock, the guy, and he says, this has been an 8-month labor of love using a machine learning tool to analyze 3 million tweets. Just how does toxicity on social media shape our democracy? Well, you wouldn't know, Pete, because the methodology you've used is fatally flawed, and here's why. At Robert Gordon on Twitter, this kind of analysis is only as good as the tools you use. He did a test run of using the 14 words, which is the literal Nazi dog whistle, and only got a rating of 34.33% toxic. Using a thinly veiled reference to this, got a rating of 9.48%. You're a poo-poo head, got 76.52%. Seriously. Was it Pete Sherlock's toddler that programmed this machine learning, or what? So, the 14 words, for people who don't know, is a white nationalist, white power phrase. And it is this: we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. You sometimes see it printed on the type of T-shirts that Lee Anderson MP Scooter Club mates wear. If you want to know more about that, just go and have a look at the show from the other night, Cow Weekly. There's a whole section on this. And he somehow is still a member of parliament. You were a poo-poo head, 76.52% likely to be toxic. Right. So on the day Wes Streeting's bullying Jeremy Corbyn in parliament and calling him senile, as the Shadow Health Secretary, who would be charged with the health and social care package for people who have dementia in the UK, that's 900,000 people. Can you imagine the amount of families that affects? Can you imagine it? The amount of people that affect. Any of us who've known people who've developed dementia, or know people whose family members have. I do. A friend of mine's father had, and it was horrible. Horrible. Like when he got sectioned. And when that happened, I went round to clean up the house. And it was shit. Like in a room, and piss because he thought it was the toilet, man. Like, this tears families apart, man. You can't go willy-nilly. Like, look, it's one thing, right, when you're the Shadow Health Secretary, right, who's done training in the correct way to deal with these issues, right? And there's another thing being everybody else in the country, apart from the health secretary, I guess, or anybody, really. But yet, I've dropped Jeremy a note, it's fine. Nothing from Starmer, the guy who's accusing Sunak of being weak and some kind of middle manager, getting middle management bullies in. So what's fucking Streeting then? What's Jess Phillips then? They're just two examples. Here's another one, right? West Derby. This is where they're trying to drive the MP of the year, Ian Byrne, a socialist, out of the party, right? This is Anthony Lavelle, and his tweet says, I'm on the shortlist for Liverpool West Derby. It's an absolute honour to be shortlisted and supported by every branch. Thank you to everyone for supporting me every step of the way. The hard work starts now. Together we will win here in West Derby. Aye. Well, who's Anthony Lavelle? This from Squawk Box. Exclusive shortlisted Liverpool mayoral candidate Lavelle accused of persistent bullying and hate speech towards disabled student. What's he said? This is directly from the person affected. And this person says, my name is Malika and I was a classmate of Anthony Lavelle in Liverpool Hope University during 2013 to 16. He's currently a councillor for Croxteth in Liverpool and is a candidate for the Labour Party to become Liverpool mayor. That was then obviously West Derby, now in Byrne's seat. Below are experiences I experienced with Anthony or that I have personally witnessed. A, made derogatory comments about my disabilities. B, made comments suggesting I was using crutches to scrounge benefits. C, called me a mistake and wished me dead. D always called me out in front of our peers on my disabilities when I was wearing a splint, support, or limping. Scumbag. Absolute, utter, total scumbag. And yet, this person has went through the selection to be Liverpool West Derby MP in place of MP of the Year Ian Byrne. Unbelievable, yet eminently believable about the state of the Labour Party. If you want to know more about this selection stuff, go and watch or listen to the podcast we did recently with Paul Daly, who was about what I was standing for Labour MP in Sedgefield ought to be selected at least. And he'll tell you all about what's actually going on within the party. So Paul doesn't get selected on the minor things that he details in that podcast. Yet, this guy, Lavelle, gets shortlisted. What the hell is going on here, man? So, at Scipio on Twitter says, this is the kind of person Labour want as an MP, whilst their existing MPs whinge to the state broadcaster about online abuse in an effort to resurrect the online harms bill, which they hope to use to end online anonymity and suppress political expression by the public. Jess Phillips has been banging on about it this week, man. What they want to do is suppress any kind of dissent, including this. I don't know if you've seen the sentences that like journalists could get for embarrassing the government. I mean, that would like be absolutely brilliant for the establishment, of which Jess Phillips is part of. This, right, is an attempt to stifle any kind of dissent from outside of the acceptable range that Chomsky talks about within the establishment club, certainly within Parliament. It's certainly an attempt to stop anybody saying anything about them. But meanwhile, things like this are actually happening. Things like this. So I said what I said on Twitter, says, I'm done. No second cost of living payments yet. £1.22 left on the emergency on the electric. I now won't be able to run my dialysis machine until payday. I'm going to say that again, right? This person will not be able to run their kidney dialysis machine until payday. October's price hikes have killed me. I'm using £10 a day just on electric compared to £2 a day this time last year. This is a choice by politicians that this person is in that situation where they can't put their bloody dialysis machine on. And so if this person was to turn around and call them a poo-poo head on Twitter, they're 78% likely to be toxic. What the fuck, man? Here's one for you. Fuck all of yous. Every single one of yous. Yous are the bullies. Like, are you actually serious? Like, or you can't criticize the person who's consigned you to, like, potential death, freezing in your house, not being able to feed yourself. When you look at other countries, and this is not happening to the same extent there. Look at the 4% bill rises in France. You ever get the feeling like countries which set their bins on fire get better treatment? Weird, innit? Weird. Yet these are crying about being called a disgrace. You are a disgrace if you let that happen. No civilized society should be having people scared to put their dialysis machine on. Ever. Ever. Fuck all of yous. Every single fucking one of yous. Let's take some comments before we go on. Sarah's saying she admitted she'd stabbed Corbyn in the front at the last election. Indeed, she did. Shocking. Hold on a minute. Michael Dine says the top insult is you are a politician. Innit? JC, no, not that one. Poo-poo head. Laugh my ass off. It's just mad, isn't it? Mad. Zoe's saying, and she's right to say it, if StreamYard want to let her, the cull of the disabled and poor continues. In it, though, we're living in an alternate reality, man. People like us are apparently like bullies, whereas people like Jess Phillips and Wes Streeting get to cry about it and get all this special treatment by a complicit media. Makes you wondering what's going on, doesn't it? So anyway, the definition of cry bully. This is from the Peerless Urban Dictionary. Cry bully, a bully who harasses their victim, then goes crying fake tears to a person or group of authority or publicity claiming that their victim harassed them in order to encourage them to wrongly persecute the victim as well. Aye, we've all been on the end of that. Maybe there's a lot of it at least. And I have. Des was a notorious cry bully. One time he kicked at people building sand castles in the playground before running off. And by the time we helped clean up those that were hurt, he dragged back a teacher and claimed that we'd all ganged up on him. It sounds like when my brother, my brother ate all the chewits out of Castle Grayskull when we were a kid and then told my mother I'd done it and I got grounded. That's your cry bully. Never got over it either. Never got over it. So there's a quote here, right? It's from Marcus Aurelius's book Meditations that I want to leave you with, right? Written between 121 and 180 AD, if you want to know. When a bunch of known corrupt people unite against one man and spare no effort to ridicule him, blackmail him, and attempt to assassinate his character, blindly follow that one man. Now, I don't blindly follow anybody, and I certainly didn't blindly follow Jeremy Corbyn, but that's who we're referring to. So take the last bit out. Blindly follow nobody. Question everybody, but do pay attention when people are being bullied and abused and harassed, and you know that those people are questionable. They've got questionable backgrounds, questionable reputations, but you can evidence it. Because people can have questionable reputations and there's no evidence. It's just repetition, 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 repetition until people believe it. It's been the same since time immemorial. Anyway, please do comment, rate, and subscribe. Good people. If you want to support our work, patreon.com. That's patreon.com/cowdaily. There's podcast up there with Just Stop Oil today, just for patrons, for a few days at least. Thank you seriously to everybody who's contributing to our work, because if this wasn't happening or progressing in the way that it has been, we literally couldn't do this. I'd have to take some other work. So please, if you're thinking about it and you're mulling it over whether to be a patron, please do it. Also, if you want to leave a one-off donation to our work, that's PayPal link in the description. Cheers, chaps. Much love to all as ever. Hope this has been illuminating for you. See you later.